welcome to the gwar-cast. And hello is a necessary saying, I would say, considering that that's the first thing we're going to go over on this podcast. Hello by Gwar, their debut album. Now, this album, it's weird. It was made by Gwar, of course, and the original members in this were Dave Broadkey, Dewey Rowell, Steve Douglas, Michael Bishop, Rob Mosby, Daniel Stamp, and of course, Don, whatever his last name is, I can't remember it off the top of my head. But of course, he is Sleazy P. Martini. And really, there's no, other than Sleazy, I mean, Michael Bishop now is a Blothar in the current lineup. He went from being the bassist to the singer. And so now he is the he's the only original member left currently. And so he's the only original member. And he told the story on the Knotfest podcast I listened to. And this is a pretty interesting story. He pretty much said that the day that the album came out, he went and he bought it on vinyl, like a vinyl record. And then he went home, he called up his friends to come listen to it, and they pretty much said, man, that sucks. And that's about it for that. And, yeah, so this album was released, ironically, on September 11th, 1988. Gwar's still around, they're still kicking. So they've been around for a very, very long time. And this album also starts a rivalry with Techno Destructo as well, who followed them to Earth after they got banished. Rock and Roll Party Town was the first song ever written by Gwar ever. And some other interesting lore is that in A-E-I-O-U, it says that the English alphabet would belong to Gorgor, who would later be revealed in America Must Be Destroyed on that album as a character. He got his own song. And yeah, so this album was Gwar's first. They have 15, 16 albums. Pretty much, I'm going to have 17 parts of this. I'm going to explain that real quick. I have my paper here. And so for this, some of these episodes are going to be a lot more in-depth than others. Like Scumdogs of the Universe is probably going to be a lot more in-depth than, let's say, Lust in Space. And also, I might have some guests with me on some episodes. For this episode, it's just going to be me. So, anyway, my name is Matt. I will be the host throughout this show. And I'm glad that you guys are actually listening right now. And depending on if it does good, I'm currently just going to post these to YouTube. And depending if they do good, I might post them on Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcasts, just places where the podcast can be available. But right now, it's going to be on YouTube. I decided to do that because I think you can grow easier on YouTube than, let's say, Google Podcasts. Because not many people are going to be searching up gwar-cast, and it's definitely not going to be recommending it to you. Versus if I can get one good video, the algorithm is going to push it. So we'll just see how these go. And then that will determine. So, Hello, also known as Hell-O, was their first album. I think I've said that a lot already, but it's the first. And let's just say it's an interesting start. It's not really, this is their least played album in their live shows. this song doesn't get as much playtime as any of their other albums. I looked their most recent concert on Setlist FM, and the set list on that, they played the most song on New Dark Ages, which makes sense. That's their new album out, and that will be the second to last one I cover on this show. And I'm also plotting out some other stuff. And you're probably thinking, what do you mean other stuff? So let me explain. Depending on how this goes, a dive into Gwar's discography. I'm going to then do the gwar-cast part 2, or I should say like season 2, but I don't think that's right for a podcast. No. That's what I'm going to call it. So, and I'm going to do a deep dive into my favorite band, Slipknot. Slipknot is my favorite band. I have all their albums, even MFKR, and some of them I absolutely love, but just because they're my favorite band does not mean I'm going to hold back. If I do this, and when All Hope Is Gone comes on, you guys better get ready, because there's going to be a lot of just... I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm not going to go easy on that album. Then, depending on how that goes, I'll come back with Metallica, and I will include Lulu on that. Another thing I wanted to do was look at every WrestleMania ever, but that would take, very long time. So I decided to scrap that idea, and it'll just be movie reviews and such. And then, so it'll be stuff like that. And then I will do movie reviews and maybe Stranger Things, because maybe by the time we get to this point, season 5 will be out, hopefully. And then depending on how much of a following I have, I might do a fan vote topic. I might just do Korn, Weezer, Nirvana. We'll see. I'll just have the people who watch vote. And so anyway, let's get started. Track 1, Time for Death. The introduction to Gwar as we know him today. And this song is actually one of the better ones on the album. It's a really fast-paced punk rock song. It's really catchy, and in the beginning, Odorous gives, I don't know if it's inspired by Quiet Riot, but it just reminds me of that Quiet Riot, yeah, from, Bang Your Head, Mental Health. I don't know if it was inspired by that, but that's just what it reminds me of. Really good song. Definitely one of the better ones on the album. Then we got track 2, AEIOU, and I first listened to this album last month when I listened to all of them for the gwar-cast, which I've been planning for a while, but I'm right before I'm doing these separate recordings, so if I sound different on any of these, it's probably because I'm in a different spot or something like that. And what I've written down from a month ago, it's a fast-paced, fun, thrashy kind of punk rock song. And I wrote down, earlier in the intro, I said in that song, it's kind of implied that Gorgor made the alphabet or whatever. And most of the stuff I said in the intro, I just got off Wikipedia. Because I do know a lot of things about, Scum Dogs and some other albums. The Blothar story I heard off the Knotfest podcast. Blothar, Michael Bishop, if you're listening, hit me up. I'll have you on. We can, actually, any Gwar, if anybody in Gwar, if you're listening, I'll have you on the podcast. And, so, pretty much, I have no clue what's even going on in that song. I don't know what I was on a month ago, but my thoughts, that's all I have. Out of the two, I think So, yeah, definitely worse on re-listen for AEIOU. With track 4, Americanized, I'm kind of recognizing a trend with these off this album. They're kind of like all so far have been like really short songs, especially like compared to like actually core songs are usually short and sweet. So I guess I can't really say that, but again, like stuff on Carnival Chaos, like Don't Need a Man's 12 minutes, but like part of it's just the hidden track. But mostly like Gwar song, like these, I'd say on average are maybe like 3, 4 minutes, usually three. But these ones are like a minute and a half, like pretty short. Maybe that's why they made 16 tracks on it. This one's really nothing special. But now we get to talk about one of my favorites just because of the story behind it. I'm in love with a dead dog. And pretty much the story behind it was Odorous found a dog. He fell in love with it. He loved this dog and then died and he took its corpse everywhere. It's a pretty good rock song and this one kind of breaks the trend of super short Gwar songs on this. Um, this one I think is like 3, 4 minutes. So it's getting to that format of longer Gwar songs that we all know. So yeah. And the first thing I want to bring up for the track Slutman City is the first thing I notice whenever I listen to it. It's just the bass on it. The bass is just really good. And so I guess they were working better on that. And vocals are really good. It's so far, it's definitely the best on the album. Yeah. Then we get to World O' Filth. Another kind of just, there's not really much to say about it. It exists. That's about it. Then War Toy. I would say that one and You Ain't. You Ain't. I'm gonna try to keep this channel clean, so I'm gonna try not to curse. So I'm just gonna say You Ain't. Slipknot Iowa track 2. And those are probably the most frequent songs they play. The rest of them are very rare, really rare to hear them play. Captain Crunch is definitely the worst on the album. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion, but I didn't like it at all. I know we're just kind of going through them now, not going as in depth, but these ones I just have less to say about. And then Pure as the Arctic Snow is a pretty interesting one because from this, and then it goes Pure as Arctic Snow, Jimenta Pale, J. Cousteau, and the Gwar theme are all really good. And then the streak goes on of just bland Gwar songs. I mean, they're alright, they're perfectly fine, but they're not great. There's nothing really special about them. Out of the ones that come after, Bone Metal, Ollie North, Techno Song, You Ain't, Slipknot, Iowa, Track 2, and Rock and Roll Party Town. I'd say Techno Song is probably best because it introduces techno, but I'd say Private Pain of Techno Destructor is a lot better than Techno's song. So that's just what I say. It's just my opinion, and I'm right. So that's about it for track list. But Jim Appeal, J. Cousteau is just a great song, and that's definitely the best one on the album. The Gwar theme is definitely also like maybe the second best, and then yeah, that little streak there, Piers Arctic Snow, Jim Peel, Jake Stowe, and the Gwar theme are all just great. But then it kind of just slows down again, and yeah, that's about it. So basically, overall, my final kind of thoughts and stuff on their album Hello. It's an album that exists. I mean, it has some good, has some bad, like all albums should and do. I mean, this episode, some albums, I'm gonna just guesstimate. Some of these episodes could get up to 50 minutes into an hour. But this one, I don't know. Might only be like 20 something minutes. I'm not looking at the time of the recording of the audio. But, I will bring up something. In Scumdogs 30 Live, there is a part in the beginning of the DVD, which I have, where Sawborg Destructo and Bozo Destructo, who Bozo Destructo, once you know that he's played by Sleazy P. Martini, you can't unhear Sleazy's voice when he sings his part in Techno's song on that album. And pretty much he's like Techno's like rummaging through the garbage, and and they come and they beat him up, and he's like, remember, and he remembers Gwar and how they must die, and he says he will kill Odorous Urungus, but thing is, he's already dead. Uh, he's like, and Sabor kind of whispers in his ear, and he says, "What do you mean he died of a drug overdose? As long as you didn't burn the body at a Viking funeral, he can come back." And he whispers in his ear again. He's like, "What?" Yeah, we're gonna go over that. I'm gonna go over that in more detail when on the live album episode, where I also will go over Mount Fuji and Scumdogs 30 Live. So I will go over those two, and I will also talk more about their live shows and what goes on there. I personally have not been to a Gwar show in my life currently. I mean, I'm only 16. I still have time. And so a lot of my knowledge, I got credit to the House of Masks as well about Gwar. That I got a lot of knowledge about Gwar there. And, um, yeah, so I don't think there's any, on the final episode of this season of the gwar-cast, I'm going to do a final thoughts album ranking, top 20, let's just say, Gwar songs. I don't know, but that might change by the time, because I'm not going to be doing these like once a week. I'm just going to be doing them sporadically. I don't know. So pretty much the episodes in order are going to be Hello, Scumdogs, The Road Behind, America Must Be Destroyed, This Toilet Earth, Ragnarok, Carnival Chaos, We Kill Everything, Violence Has Arrived, War Party Beyond Hell, Lust in Space, Bloody Pit of Horror, Battle Maximus, Blood of Gods, New Dark Ages, live albums, EPs, and then final thoughts and rankings. Anyway, this has been the gwar-cast, and I hope you come back, because this is a really mediocre episode and a really mediocre album to start off. Good night, people. And also, if you're listening to this on Pandora, Spotify, Google Podcasts, that obviously means something went well. And if you're not, wish me luck. That's about all I got. Oh, I just thought of something. I should rename this a Death Pod. Yeah, I'll go on that in Scumdogs. If you made it this far into the video, comment the word, let's see here. Comment maggots, also known as track 2 on the next album. So, which will also be something we talk about next episode. Alright, goodbye.